Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and children of all ages, from Eric Lima's Shenanigans of 1977, it's time to head back in our mental DeLoreans where we talk about things of pop culture back in the 80s and 90s with nostalgic shenanigans. And our host of this great segment is the youngster in the picture from the first grade in the 80s, Mr. Eric M. Lima. Thank you very much, Mr. Announcer, sir. Well, hello there, everyone. Welcome to yet another episode of Eric Lima's Shenanigans, 1977, episode 2414. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the 7th episode of Nostalgic Shenanigans. Now, Nostalgic Shenanigans is where I talk about things of the past that are no longer in existence today, as far as stores like retro retail, video game systems, places that I've been to, TV shows I've watched, cartoons, and all that. And including celebrities that are also no longer with us today. As you know, growing up in the 80s is a really cool thing, you know. I've been through a lot during those times in the 80s. But I've always, did things that kept my mind off the real life situations that I've dealt with. When I was a little small child back then. Ladies and gentlemen, this week we have lost 3. Now, they say death comes in 3s. A lot of folks, this has been talked about. This is probably the biggest death on the planet, possibly. It depends on which genre of pop culture, this person was in. As you know, we lost a TV legend in Malcolm Jamal Warner of the legendary sitcom The Cosby Show. Played Theo Huxtable on that show, and he was vacationing with friends in Costa Rica, ended up passing away at the age of 54, and he drowned. Then a couple of days ago, we lost a musical icon in Ozzy Osbourne. Died at the age of 76, a couple weeks after he did his last show, his last tour. He was also part of wrestling history. As you know, he was a co-manager alongside Captain Lou Albano of the British Bulldogs, and as him and Captain Lou Albano led them to the World Wrestling Federation World Tag Team titles against the Dream Team at WrestleMania 2. And he was also a guest host, a guest general manager along with his wife Sharon of Monday Night Raw back in 2009. But today, this bit of news has sent shockwaves throughout the internet and throughout the world, throughout those in the wrestling fandom community. And I will try to do my best to keep an open mind and objective, because a lot of things about this man was controversial, as you know, for the past 10, 12 years. A lot of things have been said about this man. If you're a true blue wrestling fan, if you're a wrestler, and you're watching this video, I'd like for you to keep an open mind. Put all your feelings about this man aside. Put all your political feelings towards this man aside. Put everything. Politics, controversy, keep it aside for a minute. Let's separate the art from the artist, okay? First and foremost, this man is human. We all are human. We all say and do things that could get us in hot water. We all make mistakes. We're all human. I don't want to judge this gentleman by, this individual I should say, by what he said, what he did, as far as outside of the spotlight, But this individual had the biggest spotlight in professional wrestling. The year January 23rd, 1984. His rise to fame came about when this wrestler defeated the Iron Sheik to become the World Wrestling Federation's World Heavyweight Champion. That one man, his name is Hulk Hogan. That man, by virtue of the victory over the Iron Sheik, has skyrocketed his popularity to a newer level like it's never been done before. But his impact as the champion back then has brought the World Wrestling Federation to newer heights. Now you'll be thinking, okay, I could go back and say Andy Kaufman and Jerry King Lawler. I think they got the ball rolling to bring professional wrestling into the mainstream. I can easily say that Wendy Richter defeating the Fabulous Moolah for the Women's World Championship in the World Wrestling Federation, that kind of got started. Cyndi Lauper inviting Captain Lou Albano to do her video of Girls Just Want to Have Fun, playing her father. I believe that was the catalyst that got the ball rolling. Now, you may be thinking, how does Hulk Hogan fit in all this? Simple. After the title match, there was a reconciliation between Cyndi Lauper and Captain Lou Albano, who, despite his heel attitude as a manager, he does some good. He has contributed to the cause of eliminating multiple sclerosis. And because of that, Cyndi Lauper and him felt a connection. They became great friends again and decided to help with the cause. And there was a special presentation. Hulkster was there to help out. Wendy Richter was there as well. And as they were presenting Captain Lou Albano with a special gift, a special award, Roddy Piper came in, wrecked the whole thing, and Hulk Hogan took it upon himself to say, hey, I'm going to challenge you to a match to defend the honor of the Rock and Wrestling Connection. Piper says, what do you got for me that I want? The championship. So Hogan decided, well, the war to settle the score. Hogan may have won, but I think Piper may have won by disqualification. I forget the result of that matchup. I think it was a win by disqualification. Possibly Hogan won. But since that match, the World Wrestling Federation transcended into newer heights. WrestleMania in Madison Square Garden, that happened. And the World Wrestling Federation has been put on the map. Professional wrestling as a whole has been officially put on the map. NWA was the first one to start getting mainstream wrestling. But Hulk Hogan and the World Wrestling Federation brought it to newer heights. And wrestling was a popular thing in the 80s. WCW was born in the late 80s, thanks to Ted Turner. Hulk Hogan was a champion in the wrestling ring, winning the title about 5 times, 6 times, 7 times. But in the 90s, his popularity started to fade away a little bit. His career, started to fade away a little bit. Ever since losing the title to The Undertaker back in Survivor Series 1991, the popularity kind of declined a little bit. He started gravitating to more of guys like The Undertaker, Bret the Hitman Hart, Shawn Michaels. Hogan then had his last match against Sid Justice at WrestleMania 8. He went out to make movies. He did No Holds Barred, Mr. Nanny, Santa with Muscles. He did, I think, a Three Ninjas movie. Thunder in Paradise. He guest starred on Baywatch. But then WCW came a-calling back in 1994 after Hogan won the title for a fifth time against Yokozuna at WrestleMania 9 in an impromptu title match, and losing the title to Yokozuna at the King of the Ring in 1993. Hogan's contract with the WWE World Wrestling Federation is up. He went to WCW. First match, Bash at the Beach 1994, defeating Ric Flair for the World Heavyweight Championship. Continuing his rise to popularity and stardom. But on a fateful day, July the 7th, 1996. Now, a couple of months beforehand, Scott Hall made an appearance after his contract with the World Wrestling Federation expired as Razor Ramon. And now he says, you want a war, you got it. Kevin Nash, whose contract was also expired by the World Wrestling Federation as Diesel. Kevin Nash came in, decided to challenge WCW's three best wrestlers against them and a partner of their choosing at Bash on the Beach, July the 7th, 1996. Sting and Luger were WCW stalwarts, although Luger came back from the World Wrestling Federation in 95, late 95. Macho Man Randy Savage also signed with WCW in 94 as well, and decided to be the third guy for their team against the Outsiders and their partner. Luger got knocked out, got taken out in a stretcher, and the Outsiders were getting the upper hand until Hulk Hogan came out. Everybody thought Hulk Hogan was going to join with Sting and Savage. Perfect. Savage was out cold. But then, the leg drop on Savage. He was the third man. He was the third man. And again, Hulk Hogan had changed the wrestling business in the 90s as well with that heel turn, forcing the World Wrestling Federation to up their game as well, creating new stars like Stone Cold, Steve Austin, The Rock. Hart and Michaels intensified their rivalry because of it. Now let's go back to Hulk Hogan's career for a minute in the World Wrestling Federation. I've forgotten. WrestleMania 3. Before then, Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant were best friends until Andre got suspended. But a deal with Bobby the Brain Heenan reinstated him and turned him against the Hulkster. The Hulkster looked up to Andre, and Andre challenged him for the championship at WrestleMania 3. That match happened. And whoever thought, well, Hulk Hogan body slamming Andre the Giant. I will never forget also, he had that title until 1990, when he faced then Intercontinental Champion, the Ultimate Warrior, at WrestleMania 6 Sky Dome in Toronto. Warrior finally beat him for the championship. Hogan got the title back a year later when Sergeant Slaughter beat the Warrior at the Royal Rumble, thanks to the Macho King Randy Savage. And then at Survivor Series 91, he lost it to The Undertaker. Fast forward, let's go back to 1996, where Hogan has decided to join up with Hall and Nash, forming the most notorious wrestling stable ever. Many groups have copied this stable, like the Bullet Club. Talking about the NWO. Hulk Hogan, been a heel before, managed by Hall of Famer, the late great classy Freddie Blassie. And But this version of Hulk Hogan, like I said, forced WCW to step up their game, forced the World Wrestling Federation to step up their game. The World Wrestling Federation went with a more edgier, more attitude era, giving birth to groups like D-Generation X. You know, giving Stone Cold an attitude, Undertaker, you know. But here's the thing, the Monday Night War ratings, WCW was kicking the WWE's butt for 83 straight weeks until early 1999 when Tony Schiavone made a spoiler that said, oh, Mick Foley's going to win. Who used to wrestle here as Cactus Jack will win their world title. That'll put butts in seats. WCW was so desperate. They tried to bring Hulk Hogan back to the red and white, red and yellow. Then politics kicked in. Vince Russo kicked in. Bash at the Beach 2000, I've watched it. I watched how everything went down there. He was never heard from again in wrestling until 2002 when Vince McMahon decided to bring up the three gentlemen that basically changed the face of professional wrestling in the 90s. Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, and Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan made his return as a member of the NWO. But Hulk Hogan was challenged by a young man whose rise to superstardom was so great to the point where many people would dream to see this matchup. The Rock challenged Hulk Hogan one-on-one for WrestleMania. A lot of people would never thought to see this matchup. But when they faced each other, people started chanting for Hogan again. People started chanting for The Rock. It was that match that reignited Hogan's career one more time. To go from the NWO colors to once again the Hulkamania red and yellow. Hulk Hogan made appearances here and there for the WWE. He competed against Shawn Michaels at SummerSlam. Generational matches. 80s versus 90s. Hogan took on Randy Orton at a SummerSlam. Legend versus Legend Killer. Hogan and The Undertaker had their rematch at 2002 Judgment Day for the championship they had over 11 years ago. Undertaker won that one. Hulk Hogan, folks, was the man that transcended wrestling, professional wrestling forever. Between the 80s and 90s, he has done that. No matter what you say, no matter if you hate the guy or like the guy, Hulk Hogan changed professional wrestling forever. His impact in the wrestling business. If it had not been for Hulk Hogan, the WWE wouldn't have existed as it is today. Wouldn't be the global juggernaut that it is now. Along with WCW and ECW that now have joined with the WWE. But then we wouldn't see companies like TNA and AEW rise up. We wouldn't see the wrestlers that we know and love today that had not been for Hulk Hogan. Yes, a lot of other wrestlers, other people behind the scenes played a huge role in making that happen. But Hulk Hogan got it started. And the wrestling industry grew. Now, he said some very controversial things later on as he retired. He was inducted to the WWE Hall of Fame back in 2004. But they kind of pulled back on him when he said some not so nice, some racist things. Because he was trying to be a protective father and he's worried about his daughter. And a lot of people turned on Hogan because of that. Also, a lot of people turned on Hogan because of his endorsement of Donald Trump. Me? I didn't care. I don't care about politics. Listen, there's a time and place to talk about all that, you know. Yeah, what he said, the racist talk, that was not cool. That I don't agree with. You know, that was not cool of him to do that. But to me, he was human. Later on, also, he rededicated his life to the Lord, which is the Lord Jesus Christ, which is cool in my book. I like that. And believe me, I consider him a brother in Christ. I know where he is now. I'm sure he's talking to God up there right now. A lot of people don't like Hulk Hogan because of what he said 10, 12 years ago. A lot of people don't like him. Whatever the case, wherever you stand with the Hulkster, whether it be for him or against him, doesn't matter. What matters is what he has done for the wrestling business. Y'all know, y'all need to come to the realization that if it had not been for Hulk Hogan, we wouldn't be wrestling fans. We wouldn't be those we like now. You know? Without Hulk Hogan, there would be no Macho Man Randy Savage. There would be no Ultimate Warrior. There would be no Undertaker. No British Bulldog. No Triple H. Shawn Michaels, D-Generation X. No NWO. Hall and Nash. I can go on to a lot of wrestlers. You know, I could say the same thing about Wendy Richter and Fabulous Moolah. If it hadn't been for those two, we wouldn't see Trish Stratus, Lita, Melina, Sable. I can go on. Hulk Hogan had made an impact in the wrestling business, the professional wrestling business, in both the 80s and the 90s. His death, his passing, is going to affect all that. It's up to the wrestlers of today. It's up to us fans to keep the legacy of professional wrestling alive for Hulk. We don't have to do it for the Hulkster. We do it for those wrestlers out there who are still living, who are still doing the things to entertain us. There would be no professional wrestling, no mainstream professional wrestling on TV if it wasn't for Hulk Hogan. Hulkster was the man for his time. 80s and 90s, I grew up. You could have there's Hulk Hogan, everything. He tells you to say your prayers, eat your vitamins, never give up, believe in the 10 Commandments, in the Commandments, the prayers. He did everything for the kids. Kids are sick in hospitals and all that. Did everything to cheer them up. Did everything he could. Acting legend. No holds barred. Santa with muscles. Mr. Nanny. Thunder in Paradise he did. He made a guest appearance on Saturday Night Live with Mr. T. The A-Team made a guest appearance on that. Hulk Hogan was the man. What can you say? Not a lot of people like him anymore, but you know, say what you want about him, you cannot deny his impact in this business, in the wrestling business. It's because of him that I get a chance to talk to all my other favorite wrestlers. Of the Rant and Rave podcast wouldn't be a thing. We always talk about wrestling. We wouldn't be enjoying our wrestling. We wouldn't enjoy guys like John Cena, Randy Orton, or ladies like Toni Storm, Mina Shirakawa, Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, Harley Cameron. We would see like guys like Dusty Rhodes, Cody, Dustin. Hulk Hogan got the ball rolling for all those wrestlers. He got the ball rolling. Now it's like what you do with that ball. It's like Hulk Hogan got the ball rolling and says, brothers, sisters, you take the ball, you keep rolling with it. I've done my part, it's your turn. Hulk Hogan was the man. I was a Hulkamaniac once. I mean, talk about four of the biggest wrestling legends of the 80s are now gone. Andre the Giant, The Ultimate Warrior, Macho Man Randy Savage, and Hulk Hogan. I never thought I would hear Hulk Hogan passed away. Never thought I'd hear those words. And today, I heard them, I read them. My parents sent me an article on it. My good friend Jason DeCanio called me to talk about it, saying we should talk about it on Rant and Rave. But we already had everything set up. But that could change. I don't know. But one thing's for sure: the Hulkster is going to be missed. Its impact in the wrestling business has been felt. Now, what do we do? Where do we go from here? Now that Hulk Hogan's gone, Hulkamania is officially dead. Terry Gene Bollea, August 11th, 1953, till July 24th, 2025. Hogan was never perfect. He was always human. The problem is a lot of people put him on a pedestal. And that's how, past 10, 12 years, he was not well liked because of that. I'm sure he'll admit that he's let everything get to his head. And he's trying to make amends, trying to do things right. And in the end, he was only human. Hulk Hogan, all I can say is, on the behalf of myself, you will be missed. I will never forget your promos. Well, you know something, brother. I'll never forget your impact you had on the wrestling world. You will be missed, sir. The old Shenanigans salute. Condolences go to his ex-wife, Linda. I don't know how she'll feel about that. His current wife. Also to his son Nick and his daughter Brooke. Hulk Hogan, may you rest in peace. We'll continue to take our vitamins, say our prayers. But now the question is, what are we going to do when Hulkamania is no longer running wild? On you. What are we going to do? We're going to live on. Live our lives one day at a time. Folks, this also tells us, if you have loved ones, tell them you love them. I want to tell you guys I love you all. Had it not been for all you guys inspiring me, I wouldn't be doing some of the stuff on YouTube that I am doing now. Like I said, if I hadn't been for Hulk Hogan, I wouldn't be a wrestling fan. I would have been a baseball fan. I would have been a video game fan. I would have been fine with that. I would have been a Three Stooges fan all my life. I would have been fine with that. I thought I didn't like wrestling because when I first saw Demolition, I thought they were scary looking. My grandfather watched it. If for Hulk Hogan, we wouldn't have WWE Primetime Wrestling. We wouldn't even see Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby the Brain Heenan have their little comedy banter on commentary. JR and the King. We wouldn't have the Attitude Era. We wouldn't have all these great legendary wrestlers. A lot of them are now gone on. Hulk Hogan being the latest. We wouldn't have the Wrestling Connection. We wouldn't have Ozzy Osbourne being in the corner of the British Bulldogs, leading them to the World Tag Team titles at WrestleMania 2 against the Dream Team. We wouldn't have Ozzy Osbourne being a guest general manager of Raw along with his wife Sharon. in 2009. If it hadn't been for Hulk Hogan, all the celebrities we wouldn't have celebrity wrestling fans. We wouldn't see Mr. T in a wrestling ring. We wouldn't see Bad Bunny in a ring. Or, Jay Leno. We wouldn't see guys like Diamond Dallas Page make an impact. We wouldn't see people that, make a positive impact outside the ring. Like a Mark Merrill. Like a Diamond Dallas Page. We wouldn't see people like Cody Rhodes making an impact in kids' lives. Hulk Hogan got that ball rolling. He pushed the ball. All the other wrestlers took the ball and said, "Hey, we'll push it. We'll push the ball. We'll make wrestling big. You started it. We'll continue it." He made wrestling what it is today. That's Hulk Hogan for you. Now, what he did outside the wrestling era, I'm sure he'll have to answer for all that. But the problem is that, listen, all y'all, there's some people out there, a lot of folks out there are hating on Hogan. Hey, he's not going to answer to us any longer. He's going to answer to the big guy. He is a born-again believer. And to me, I hope he gets into heaven. I pray that he is already there. All the other stuff, I'm sure he's answering to God for all that. I don't speak ill will of the dead of anybody. I don't care, I don't care if I like them or hate them. I don't speak ill of the dead. Listen, I'm not a big fan of heavy metal music, but I respect Ozzy Osbourne. Why? He's a funny dude. Check out his reality show. I will always love what he said to his family. I love you all very much. I love you all my life, but you're all bleeping nods. Ozzy had a way, as a funny personality. I'm sure he'll make people laugh. He makes people smile. And remember, him giving a hug to his hero, Paul McCartney. That was a genuine moment. Malcolm Jamal Warner. What can you say? If it had not been for Bill Cosby's actions, Malcolm Jamal Warner would have had made an impact on that show, the Cosby Show, would not, if it had not been for his actions, that show would have been still up and running, and Malcolm Jamal Warner will be remembered as a man who played a part in changing TV culture. Malcolm Jamal Warner as Theo. He was great as Theo. And he will also be missed. Like I said, it's been a tough week for celebrity deaths, especially of three 80s icons. Malcolm Jamal Warner on the TV, Ozzy Osbourne with the music, and Hulk Hogan with the wrestling. Ladies and gentlemen, that's all the time we have on this show. Episode 2114 of Eric Lima Shenanigans 1977. The 7th episode of Nostalgic Shenanigans. Hulk Hogan, you will be missed, brother. Malcolm Jamal Warner, you also will be missed, brother. So will you, Ozzy Osbourne. May all three of you rest in peace. Condolences and prayers go out to the families, friends, and fans of these three individuals. These three great, legendary individuals. Their work on camera will live on. And thank you to all three. Thank you, Malcolm Jamal Warner. Thank you, Ozzy Osbourne. And thank you, Hulk Hogan. Rest in peace, all three of you. So as you know, friendly reminder, Rant and Rave. Friendly reminder, Rant and Rave will be on tonight, but William Braun and I have been given the night off. But you will see me from the 2 weeks ago that we did the interview with Handbagger Mosh. Now, with Hulk Hogan's recent death, I don't know if that will change things and that will change the format of Rant and Rave. We'll see. I don't know. If they're going to stick with the format, we'll talk. Because this is a big thing. So, I'll see if I get any messages about it. And I'll let you guys know ahead of time. Alright? I will see you guys later. Not only that, we got TNA tonight. And also, tomorrow we got Bullseye. Got SmackDown. I'm sure SmackDown's going to hit differently. We shall see. We shall soon see. Thank you very much for listening. I'll see you on the next episode. Until then, Mr. Announcer, please take us home. Rest in peace, Malcolm Jamal Warner, Ozzy Osbourne, and Hulk Hogan. Bye for now. That is all for today's episode of the show. This is Mr. Announcer speaking for Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. A Big Beefy E and Door for Bob Saget production, and in association with a Raving Bull for 3000 Telepictures and Distribution. Thank you for watching another episode of Eric Lima Shenanigans of 1977. See you later on the next episode of the show. Goodbye for now.